And welcome back to A Chapter a Day.
Keeps the devil away.
I'm Pastor Pleck. That's Pastor Hahn. We're talking 3 John. We are going to outline it, observe it, interpret it, and apply it so that you could be fully equipped to take on darkness, push it back with the power of the gospel, and understand fully what God has for us in terms of what the letter to 3 John says. All right, so look at verses 1 through 4. Greeting to Gaius. John addresses Gaius, who he loves in the truth, and he expresses joy over faithful spiritual children. Then verses 5 through 8, a commendation for hospitality. Gaius is praised for supporting traveling Christian workers, and believers should support faithful ministers and become fellow workers for the truth. And then verses 9 and 10, warning about Diotrephes. Diotrephes loves preeminence and rejects apostolic authority, and so we need to put an end to that guy. Then there's this commendation of Demetrius for verses 11 and 12. John urges believers to imitate good rather than evil. And then final greetings in 13 through 15. John desires personal fellowship rather than writing further. All right, what are you seeing here?
Okay, this is like a great missions passage, right? It's talking about receiving certain brothers and then sending them. They're going out for the sake of the name, and they're not accepting anything from the Gentiles, meaning, in this case, the non-Christian populace. And he says we ought to support these people, to be fellow workers for the truth. When you give money as a Christian and from the church or individually to missionaries who are going out to preach the gospel for the sake of God's name, you are partnering with them. You're a fellow worker in them, in the truth, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. How about the fact that John wrote something to the church, but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first, does not acknowledge our authority. In other words, I think he wrote something that Diotrephes intercepted and burned it.
Yeah.
So if he comes, he's going to bring that up, what he's doing, talking wicked nonsense against us. And
wicked nonsense.
I love it. And not content with that, refuses to welcome the brothers and also stops those who want to and puts them out of the church. What do you think is going on with that?
Yeah. I don't know. Diotrephes, definitely, man, who likes to put himself first. I just think when you're like, oh man, look, Diotrephes is in the Bible. What's it say about him? Oh, he likes to put himself first. That's his reputation for all eternity.
Man.
It's the guy who intercepted and interrupted church ministry.
Man. Diotrephes was charging John's falsely to elevate himself. Worse than that, he was not giving hospitality to visiting brethren, as Gaius was, perhaps because he saw them as a threat to himself. Mm-hmm. And third, he intimidated others in the church and forced them to stop welcoming these men. That's wild how bad Diotrephes was.
Yeah. You got multiple names here. You got Gaius, first of all.
Yeah.
And then you get Diotrephes, who's bad news. And then you get Demetrius in the end, who's got a good testimony. And so they're naming specific names. This John is saying, hey, you need to know who to trust. The fact that he's saying Demetrius has received a good testimony, we add our testimony. And he's saying this is a guy you can trust. Diotrephes, not a guy you can trust.
Right.
They were very specific about, he wanted the people to know who were trustworthy teachers and leaders.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I also like the verse 4, or verse 3 to 4. Indeed, I rejoice greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, as indeed you are walking in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth.
Yeah, I love that verse.
I wonder, was this the same church? Is Gaius a part of the church of John 2? Is that possible? Oh, sorry, 2 John. Yeah. Is that possible? And I don't know. I thought that was sort of a wild thought to kind of go there, but he loves the fact when he gets good with the word, positive things are happening. The members of the church are walking in the truth.
Yeah. I noticed he also makes the same comment from 2 John about face-to-face versus pen and ink.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. That's John really liked to spend in-person time with fellow Christians.
And in John 2, he's like, hey, don't welcome false teachers. John 3, hey, make sure you welcome the right teachers.
Mm-hmm. Is this, and at the end when he says the friends greet the friends, each by name. And so in 2 John, he was saying, the the sister.
Mm.
What did he say? The children of your elect sister, and now he just says the friends. Is this where the Quakers get their like what they call them friends meetings for like their church gatherings? Is that where they get this from?
Yeah,
friends meetings. There's one on the way to my house that I always see, and it says friends meeting Sunday. So and so time.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Yeah. Also in John 14, 15, I've called you friends.
Right.
So, kind of wild. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not specifically this verse, but it's John.
Okay. Nice.
All right. What do we got about nature of man here?
He says in verse 2, I pray all may go well with you, that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul, and that our body and soul health matter.
Yeah. How about, now hold on that mind, body, and soul. Is there, there's different theologians have like, are we a
tripartite or
tripartite? Yeah. Or dual, was it body and soul, or is it body, spirit, and soul?
I am of I think depending on how you're talking about it, I think in general, I would go, we're material and immaterial.
Right.
We have a body and we have a soul. But then you can break each of those down. Like our body, we have a mind, that's part of our body, but we also, the mind and the soul are spoken of together in scripture in certain ways, meaning like the seat of our will, our emotions, that type of thing. And so sometimes you can see soul and mind broken up, or heart and mind broken up more. But I think in general, I would say we're two parts, body and soul, material and immaterial.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think over time, like more of the charismatic movement has a more of a influence in the tripartite view, that your mind, body, and soul, and that your mind interacts with your body, but your mind also interacts with your soul.
Yeah. And you have, the great commandment, love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your mind, and all of your soul. Right. And then the other version also adds your strength.
Right.
And so I don't think that is saying, hey, you have these three distinct types of parts of yourself, but it's just really more that the mind and the soul are breaking down really kind of like the immaterial part of who you are.
Yeah. So I don't think you're wrong to go tripartite. I just don't think it's the most helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Because sometimes people go too far with what that means and what's interacting with what. And
I agree.
Okay. What about... Oh, I was going to say, humans are tempted by pride and self-promotion. Diotrephes desire prominence and control, to the point which I guess he tore up a letter of some... I don't know if that's what he did, but he wanted to write a letter to the church, but Diotrephes was kind of in love with himself and didn't want it to get through, and he rejected the apostleship and authority, or the authority of the apostles.
Yeah.
What other nature man stuff?
The fact that, just the value of in-person community, being face-to-face with other Christians really matters. And yet there's still a great value of things written with pen and ink.
Yeah. And how about people influence others either positively or negative? So you got Gaius and Demetrius, positive, Diotrephes, negative.
We need support sometimes in the things that God calls us to do. So the people who are going out for the sake of the name, they relied on material financial support from churches to cover their needs as they're going out into kind of like a frontier mission situation.
Yeah, I love that. I love that missions is spoken of so clearly here, of like, this is what we do. Hey, raising money and supporting yourself to go and do the mission, that's not like you don't go get a real job. That is a real job.
Yeah, amen.
All right, let's get into some character of God.
On that real quick, something neat about, Paul, he was a tent maker at some points. Sometimes he relied on support, but a lot of times he was doing tent making. I think it's really neat that, a tent, a house in a sense, he was making tents. Metaphorically, it's also what he was doing spiritually, right? He was planting churches. He was making spiritual houses. And he even took a job that kind of like symbolized or represented that.
Yeah, it's good.
I just think that's interesting.
It's very good. All right, how about character of God? God values truth and faithful living. Walking in truth brought joy to John specifically. Like I just, nothing makes me more excited to see my children walking in the truth. And as a father, like you have moments where you see your kids walking in the truth. You're like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. God changes us. Verse 11, whoever does good is from God. Whoever does evil has not seen God. And so when you go from a person who has not seen God to a person who knows God, there is a change in you from evil to good in terms of your desires, your values, the motivation for why you do what you do, instead of being for selfish ambition, rather for the glory of God. Like God really changes us.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think you've said this, but whoever does evil has not seen God. It's impossible to see God when you're imitating evil.
Yeah. Okay, well, another thing, when it says in the very end, greet the friends each by name.
Ooh.
Here, this is
Knowing
like God
people's
has
name.
a value. You know, even when you think about Jesus as the good shepherd who calls us by name, he knows each of us by name. So not only is there a value of face-to-face, so thinking of, okay, today, local church stuff, this is kind of getting into application, but it's also just about God. There's a value of face-to-face and of knowing each other's names. To greet the friends each by name, you have to actually know the people in your church. And I think this says here, this is how God designed churches to be.
Yeah.
Face-to-face, knowing each other's names.
I love that. In fact, the next time you see the person and you've forgotten their name, just own it.
Yeah.
Be like, my bad, forgot your name. And if you see somebody new, okay, let me bless you with this. Don't say, hey, are you new here?
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I can't remember your name. Well, I'm Chris. And then what happens is they go, oh, I've been coming here for forever. Or you say, okay, they give you their name. It's like, how long have you been coming here? And then they say, oh, today's my first day. That's, oh, you nailed it because it was a new person. Or, oh, I've been here for about 2 years. And you're like, oh, wow. Glad I didn't, make you feel like nobody knows your name or has ever seen you before.
Yeah. Good tip.
All right, let's get into application. Speaking of that, so sin to avoid, promise claim, example follow, command obey, knowledge to believe. What do you got?
Pray for people's health and their souls. Verse 2.
How about avoid pride and desire for control?
Diotrephes. Yeah.
How about
Command to obey, verse 11, do not imitate evil, but imitate good.
command obey, walk in truth. Show hospitality to faithful believers.
Support missionaries who are going out for the sake of the name.
Good.
And it says to support them, send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God.
Nice.
So like, don't just, throw some chump change, but,
In a manner worthy of God.
Yeah.
I like that. How about example follow? Gaius' hospitality and faithfulness, and then Demetrius' good testimony.
Yeah. Love that. Prioritize face-to-face community and fellowship with other believers and get to know the names of everybody in your church.
Know the names of the people in your church. I think that'll do it.
Cool.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on A Chapter a Day.